Even if I told you that Daystar, Suzy Lamb, Jonathan Lamb, and Joni Lamb's narrative would culminate in this point, I still wouldn't believe it. Joni Lamb and a few other board members are trying to cover up the abuse, according to a statement made by Jonathan's wife, Suzy Lamb, in one of their recordings. We will discuss another type of abuse that Suzy mentioned in addition to the fact that she and Jonathan's brother were victims of abuse in the next paragraphs, where we will of course speak about the bad fortune of being represented by former nanny in court hearings for sexual assault. And I know you've probably heard it before, but if you want to really understand the story, you should listen to it again. Before we get started, I just wanted to say how glad I am that you've decided to subscribe to our channel, where you can find the latest news and analysis on major events. Make sure you hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments section, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to show your appreciation. Now let's go right in. Daystar TV co-host Suzy Lamb said in January 2017 that her in-laws had recruited a chiropractor to sexually abuse her. She was also the daughter-in-law of the company's founders, Marcus and Joni Lamb. She chose to keep the incident a secret, even though her husband, Jonathan Lamb, who was Daystar's director of operations, informed his parents about it. The Christian broadcasting network Daystar is huge, with over 100 stations in different parts of the globe and an annual revenue of about $100 million. In an exclusive interview with the Roy's Report, Jonathan and Suzy highlighted the culture of secrecy at Daystar. Even more so than a decade earlier, they felt forced to follow this culture. They only recently decided to share their story about working at Daystar. They felt compelled to do so because they wanted to hold someone accountable and bring attention to the organization's culture of secrecy, especially in relation to what they believe to be a cover-up of Suzy's assault. While they were first interviewing Suzy, she refrained from discussing the abuse she had endured. Her desire to help her daughter, who has also been a victim of sexual abuse, was later disclosed. Having said that, she was unable to accomplish it. The doctor was never really charged with a crime, but according to Suzy and Jonathan, he had his license revoked due to accusations of child assault. After his transformation, Marcus and Joni saw improvement in him, so they let him work at Daystar. Things seemed to be progressing as expected until Suzy noticed the chiropractor was getting increasingly aggressive. Unfortunately, he brutally attacked Suzy one day while his aide was out of the room. She was deeply distressed by it, even though she did not think it was a rape. She then proceeded to inform Jonathan of what had happened without delay. Jonathan was driven to contact Marcus and Joni Lamb, who were not present due to his displeasure. Despite Marcus's assurances that he would handle the matter, he was told not to bring it up again, according to him. At the time, Suzy was nervous about going home because the chiropractor knew where she lived and had made threatening remarks in the past. As Suzy prepared to fill in for Marcus and Joni Lamb on their show the day after the event, she became physically ill. But this didn't stop her from continuing as host of the show. Joni Lamb assured Suzy that Marcus was no longer a danger and informed her that he had ended his contact with the chiropractor when she returned a few days later. As a result of Joni Lamb stressing the need of preserving Daystar and telling Suzy not to talk about what happened, Suzy had a hard time putting her trust in leadership in the future. The immense amount of strain she was under exacerbated her trauma and made her fear how it would affect her mental health in the long run. In accordance with Joni's wishes, Suzy followed instructions and tried to put the assault out of her mind until 2021, when the terror returned. Fearing that Joni Lamb had pushed her to be quiet, she began to suffer from anxiety and panic attacks. A lot of people started talking about this after her daughter came clean about being a victim of sexual assault in November 2020. Instead of contacting the authorities, Joni advised Suzy to bring the girl to her when she sought her help. On top of that, she warned against calling the cops. But their daughter stopped bringing up the abuse altogether after a private session with Joni. In response to claims that it was covering up abuse, Daystar has denied the allegations. They made note in their statement that previous investigations had found no evidence to support the claims of sexual misconduct involving any member of the Lamb family. They insisted that Marcus and Joni Lamb would never approve of anything that could be seen as child abuse. They insisted that the chiropractor's treatments were always accompanied by an observer and that no unethical conduct occurred. As a result of Suzy's 2017 assault allegations, this was done. They also brought up the fact that nobody ever suggested not informing the proper authorities about what had happened. According to Suzy's friends, she struggled for a long time to identify the incident as sexual assault because of the guilt and uncertainty she felt was instilled in her by people in her close circle of friends and family. This begs the crucial question: why did Suzy Lamb feel compelled to remain silent regarding the sexual assault she endured? This has become a major issue since her bombshell accusations against Daystar, especially when one considers the substantial role played by her husband's parents, Marcus and Joni Lamb. The way they handled her horrific experience brings up serious questions about the values held by those in charge, especially within the framework of a Christian organization. According to Suzy, there was a lot of pressure on her to keep quiet after her in-laws hired an unlicensed chiropractor and raped her. Considering that Marcus and Joni Lamb are supposed to be moral leaders in a Christian society that values honesty, compassion, and accountability, rather than just figures in a broadcasting network, this is particularly troubling. It seems like they prioritize the network's reputation over Suzy's well-being, instead of offering support for her and honestly discussing the matter. That this decision was taken shows that there is a disturbing trend where the family's reputation is protected at the expense of the victim's pain and sorrow. The fact that this culture of silence appears to go beyond Suzy's own experience only makes matters worse. Reports say that after Joni Lamb's little daughter disclosed that she had been assaulted, Suzy was advised by Joni not to contact the authorities. Rather, she advocated that Suzy meet with her to discuss the child. Given this information, one cannot help but wonder if Joni Lamb prioritized shielding her family from scrutiny above seeing to it that her granddaughter received fair treatment. New reports and disclosures will likely surface as the facts around this horrific narrative continue to unravel. They will hopefully clarify what happened at Daystar and how those involved felt about it. The courageous choice by Suzy Lamb to bring it up is just the start of a wider conversation about transparency and accountability in institutions with significant authority. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. With your help, we will maintain a careful watch on this important topic and make sure you get updates when you need them. New revelations are likely to keep popping up unless Joni Lamb eventually responds honestly. People are keeping a close eye on what Jonathan and Suzy Lamb do next, since they are thought to be the ones who can reveal the whole truth about this story. In light of the accusations leveled against Joni Lamb, what are your feelings on the matter? In your opinion, is there more going on here than first appears? Leave a comment telling us what you think. If you want to be the first to know about breaking news in the Christian world, be sure to subscribe to our channel.